لمتى سنظل رقودا نغرق في النوم ونشخر وعن الآذان نصم ونغمض كي لا نبصر دقت أجراس الخطر والحالة جاءت تنذر لمتى نتقاعس قولوا من يمنع زحف المنكر مات الإحساس فصرنا من غير فؤاد يذكر نبصر إخوانا غرقا فنمر كمن لا يبصر.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my name is Isabella and welcome to the River channel.
دجلا خلقت كي نعذى لا أملك فكر الكلمات تطلع بالدين مورر أو شخصية تأثير ما عندي فلتتقهقر ما تذكر ليس بعذر.
I've been a river to Islam nearly 2 months now.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
And so what was the first thing that inspired you to investigate Islam? Like, tell me about your journey. Where did it start?
When I came in London around 10 months ago, I was impressed by how many Muslims are in this city, because back home in my country you don't see Muslims every day, and if you see is that something distant from society, something apart, while here is something very normal. So at the beginning I was impressed, for example, seeing girls working with the hijab, which is something very rare in my country.
Where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
Which part of Italy?
North of Italy, Turin.
Okay.
Yeah, so this made me curious to understand more, especially because nowadays we see on TV, terrorism and these kind of things which are always related to Islam, associated with Islam. So all these things made me curious to find out more about it, and that's how I started to look for informations, watching videos, talk to some Muslims, and actually it was the first time I had the occasion to talk with some Muslims, because as I said, in my country it's not very common. So yeah, that's how I started.
MashaAllah. So where did you get the opportunity to speak to Muslims?
One of my friend had a friend who is Muslim, and he was actually the first person I could talk to, and I was feeling free to make questions. Like I was genuinely curious, so I wasn't feeling shy, and yeah, he helped me a lot also in this process of conversion. So.
Do you remember what the first question was that you asked this person about Islam?
Let me think a bit. I think my
You don't have to. I'm just saying, do you remember?
Yeah.
Like what it was?
I think I was really curious to know about halal meat, for example, because I see like every shop I see has halal meat on it, and I didn't know what that was. I mean, I knew it had something to do with Islam, but I didn't know exactly what. So that was one of the things I was curious, or how Muslims people live every day, like how they manage to pray 5 times a day, because for me it was a lot.
So, what were your initial thoughts about Muslims? Like, okay, so you lived in Italy, you lived in Turin. At that point, like when you were there, what did you think about Muslims?
To me, Muslims looks like something very distant from my life, because they do their own lifestyle. And I used to think, oh, they wear these cars, like a bit weird people, and you don't know much about them. So it's not in a bad way, but just like something very different, very distant. Yeah.
So when you came over here and you had learned a bit about Islam already, and was it, I mean, it was a pleasant surprise, can you say?
Yeah.
That they
Because
were normal, like...
yeah, much normal than what I thought. Because actually there is this prejudice back home, like, oh, Muslims are, weird and associated with bad things. And actually, when I had the chance to talk to Muslims, I just found out they are good people. Actually, they are just normal people, much normal than what we think.
So why do you think, including yourself when you were back home, right? Why do you think that people thought that they were different, a bit weird? What do you think the reason is for that?
I think usually non-Muslim people, they don't know much about it. And for example, the fact that Muslim women wear scarves and dress all covered, this is something very hard to understand for people. Like, they think they cover themselves because they are ashamed of their body, or because they don't want other people to see, and also, as I said, halal meat, or praying 5 times a day, is all these things are a bit weird for non-Muslim people.
It's just different.
Yeah, different.
Would you say it's different? Isabella, what were your initial thoughts about the hijab and the niqab?
To be honest, before I knew what hijab really is, I used to think like most of Western people think. So the hijab may oppress women, or maybe women are forced to wear it by their husband or by their family, and it's something that should not be worn because it gives a bad image of women and these kind of things. But actually, when I found out the real meaning behind it, I started to be kind of fascinated by it, and in one way I thought these women who cover themselves, actually they deserve respect, because nowadays is a lot of women just don't care about covering their body. It's even the opposite. So these women who have the courage to cover themselves, and protect their dignity and their body, is actually something good that is not really appreciated nowadays from Western culture.
And even when you first started to do your research into Islam, did you think that you would be wearing hijab now? Did you see yourself wearing hijab?
Actually, I didn't see him. I couldn't imagine myself wearing the hijab. Even the same day I took my shahada, I didn't really plan to start wearing it, but since that moment I felt so comfortable in it, like it was already a part of me. And that day I decided to go home just wearing it, like, let me try how it is walking in public wearing a scarf. And actually I felt very comfortable, and maybe I didn't expect that. So I just decided to keep it, and see how it would go, and until today.
So when did you take your shahada?
I took my shahada in June in the East London Mosque.
Okay, cool. So how was the experience of the shahada in the mosque? Talk me through your experience.
To the mosque in the ladies section, and just went in the space where women can change themselves, and I just put on my abaya and my scarf, because I used to be a bit embarrassed to go in the streets like wearing like that. So yeah, that was actually the first time after shahada I went in public with my hijab.
And how did you feel immediately after you'd said those words, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, how did you feel when you said those words?
I was very very happy, and I felt like some part of myself was finally complete.
Wow.
Like I found something that I was searching for a long time, and I felt nearly like crying, and I had some sisters around and they were hugging me, and they were nearly more happy than me, you know.
Oh,
It was
mashallah.
such a good day. I will always remember.
Mashallah. And tell me about your experience when you first tried to arrange to take your Shahada.
Oh yeah. Actually, after 6 months of research, one day I just realized that I was feeling ready, and actually I was feeling already Muslim inside, and the only thing I was missing, it was actually taking the Shahada officially, to say, like, for the world to know, oh, I'm Muslim, because I was keeping it secret. Just few of my Muslim friends knew that I wanted to take it, so I planned to go. It was a Sunday when I decided, and I texted to one of my friends and I said, I want to take it, and she said, look, don't delay, let's go tomorrow, let's meet and go to the mosque together. And it was actually also the first time for me going to a mosque, to be honest, and I was so happy and nervous a bit, and yeah, so we met and we head to the mosque, and we headed to the mosque, and we went to the information center, and we booked an appointment with the imam to take my shahada. It was about 4 o'clock, and he said, come back 7:30, and the imam is gonna be here for you to explain you some things and give your shahada. Okay, and yeah, I was so excited and happy, and I spent 3 hours in the mosque with the other sisters, and we read Quran, practice praying, wudu, and these kind of things. And when we finally were ready, we went to the main place to meet the imam, and it was 7:29, and something unexpected happened. Someone said, oh, actually the imam is busy, I don't know what happened, but your name is not on the list. And we were like, how comes my name is not on the list? We went here, we spoke to someone, and then, oh, I don't know, I really don't know, I'm so sorry, but the imam now is busy, you can't take your shahada. And in that moment was like my heart broke. So I was feeling so upset, and I said, okay, so when can I come back? And it's like, you can come back on Saturday and you're gonna take your shahada. I was like, oh my god, I have to wait until Saturday, I can't wait so much. It was nearly 1 week, and I was feeling so upset, I wanted to cry. So in the beginning I was so upset, but actually straight after I thought, maybe it's for a good reason, maybe it's for a better reason that I don't know. And actually nobody knew that day that I was going to take shahada, just my Muslim friends. So I thought, okay, I have been given 1 week, it must be for a reason, so what should I do in this week? And I decided that I had to tell to people around me, to my family, my friends, my work. And at the beginning I thought it was impossible because I was feeling so ashamed and so scared of their reaction, but I made an effort and I spoke to them about this. And at the beginning it was so hard because obviously they thought something happened, maybe someone was forcing me, or they didn't understand why, and they tried to convince me to give up, to leave it. And at one point I started to doubt myself, but actually the day before I woke up and I was feeling sure that I wanted to take it. So the following day I just went to the mosque without listening to anybody. I just said, you know what, I really want to do it, I feel ready 100%, this is what I want, I know it's gonna change my life, but that's just the right way. And yeah, so I went to the mosque, and finally everybody knew, like my family. Even if they didn't accept properly, but at least they knew, so I was ready. And I went to the mosque and with the same sisters, and I was finally able to take my shahada. La ilaha
illallahu
illallahu
wahdahu
wahdahu
la sharika
la sharika
lahu
lahu
wa
wa
ashhadu
ashhadu
anna
anna
Muhammadan
Muhammadan
abduhu
abduhu
wa rasuluhu.
wa rasuluhu.
I declare that
I declare that
there is no God but Allah.
there is no God but Allah.
He is one
He is one
and has no partner.
and has no partner.
I also declare
I also declare
Prophet Muhammad,
Prophet Muhammad,
peace be upon him,
peace be upon him,
is the servant
is the servant
and messenger of Allah.
and messenger of Allah.
I also declare
I also declare
Prophet Jesus,
Prophet Jesus,
peace be upon him,
peace be upon him,
is the servant
is the servant
and messenger of Allah.
and messenger of Allah. And yeah, and after that, I went home with my hijab, and
So,
yeah, alhamdulillah, that's why I started to wear hijab, because other people around me knew this. But if I would have actually took it on Monday, it would have been different, because I wouldn't have been wearing hijab.
so you went into the mosque ready to take your shahada, right? Thinking, I don't know if I can wear this on the street.
Yeah.
But then you took shahada, and then you didn't even think about wearing it on the street. You just went outside.
Yeah, I just went out. I didn't want to take it off. I thought this is exactly the best moment ever to start doing it, because I'm clean, I'm pure. All my sins have been just deleted. So I'm like a newborn baby. This is just really the best moment to wear it. Let me try it, see how it feels. And I actually felt like it was already part of me. And I went home like that. It was such a good feeling, yeah.
Mashallah. So describe your first 2.5 months as a Muslim.
Okay. I think one of the hardest part was when I went to work first time wearing the hijab, because obviously people were used to see me every day normal, and one day I just came with the scarf, and some people actually thought that I was some new people, you know, from agency like this. And I said, no, actually it's me. I'm just wearing a scarf. Some people did never even notice me before, and they would ask, "Oh, are you new?" Yeah. So, and I was feeling a bit, you know, the center of the attention of people. But yeah, actually, I was proud of it. I was happy, and I was expecting people's questions. But alhamdulillah, it went good. Yeah,
Good.
people were supporting. Good people, yeah.
Good. Anything else in your
In my first months, obviously my family, even if they don't live here, they live back home, but they would try to convince me, oh, go back to your religion, you are not this person, you are our Isabella, you know. They were feeling like I was betraying them, and these kind of things, and especially because of the hijab. They didn't want me to wear it. It was like, oh, you look like another person, this is not you. So it was very hard to deal with them. I think they're slowly accepting it, maybe not
That's right.
accepting it, but you know, they don't say bad things anymore like they used to do. Not just, yeah, my mother used to say, so you're not gonna wear your nice dresses anymore, your long hair, and these kind of things. I would say, no, actually it's just different. It's just different clothes, but still nice clothes. You know, you can actually dress nice, even covering your body. It's not about that. Covering your hair, you know, you can do different hijab styles, these kind of things. You can still be yourself and have your style, I think. So that's what I was trying to explain to them. I'm the same person I was before. I'm just wearing a scarf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Inshallah. What's been the biggest change for you since becoming Muslim?
um, obviously the hijab. So I changed a bit my way of dressing, and also with friends a bit. Like we used to go out, maybe pubs and this kind of things, and obviously you can't do it when you're Muslim.
Do you miss going to bars and clubs?
Actually, I was never very fond of clubs and dancing and drinking, this kind of stuff, but no, I don't actually miss it. And obviously the way of eating as well, halal meat, not eating pork, but to be honest was not a big issue for me. It was just a not very big change. And yeah, obviously I was not very religious before, even if I was brought up Christian, but I was never really practicing. And now I'm praying 5 times a day. I'm joining lectures, courses. So it's a bit different lifestyle, but it's much better. I feel much in peace with myself.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
That is very important. You
Yeah.
know, because I think a lot of the time we, including myself, we used to do things to fit in
Mm-hmm.
to different groups. You know, if I don't do that, I won't be accepted. You know. Alhamdulillah. How did your family react to your change of religion?
Uh, well, they tried to stop me before taking my shahada, because actually what I've done is I said to them I want to convert just few days after taking shahada. So for them it was just like from nowhere. They wouldn't understand why, from where, since when. And I tried to explain them actually it's been already 6-7 months I've been thinking about it, and I finally took my decision. I didn't say anything because I wasn't sure 100%, and I didn't want to scare you, but now it's really time. I mean, I want to take it and feel free. I don't want to keep it secret, you know, even if I knew it would have been difficult, but I prefer to tell them what I really am, what I really feel. So yeah, obviously they try to stop me, and for them, as I said, the most difficult thing to accept was probably the hijab. Maybe they wouldn't understand why. They would have prejudices, you know. Many people think it's something bad, or they would be afraid. I don't know, I became extremist, or I would join some bad things, you know. I was trying to explain them. It actually here in London is something very normal. It's not like back home. I think you should talk to people. You should try to find out more, but they wouldn't listen much because for them it's something very different from our culture. So I was trying to tell them it's something that really makes me happy. I'm not going to do anything actually bad, like violence, nothing. It just gives benefit to my life. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm being good, you know, I know good people, these kind of things. And I understand in one way for them it's difficult, but yeah, I was just trying to make them understand that actually it's not that bad as media, for example, say to us. Number one, I would recommend to go to East London Mosque. They do classes for reverts every Saturday. Basically, they explain basic things for new Muslims. They help you, they support you if you need it. You can even talk to some teachers if you need to know about Quran or other stuff. For example, one girl, she's from London, and she brought her parents there to understand more things. So people are very nice and very helpful, so I would recommend that. Number 2, I recommend one of my favorite books, which is Reclaim Your Heart. Yasmin Mogahed is the author. That really helped me even before converting, because it explains basic things about Islam and how to act in this life in order to be in peace with yourself. In peace with yourself, and you also learn a lot of things about Islam. For example, dunya, heaven, deen, all these things.
Terminology.
Yeah, terminology. And number 3, I would recommend one of my favorite Islamic clothing shop online, which is Inaya. It's quite famous, and you can actually buy online. It's abayas, hijabs, scarves, and it has a lot of nice clothes. Yeah. And all the links for my recommendations are in the box below. I would suggest to talk to people, go to mosque or talk if you have some Muslim friends. Just ask them questions and things that you want to know, because this really helped me at the beginning, having someone to talk to ask my questions, my doubts. Read books, search online, and my second tip is make also your own research. So try to search online, but always be careful, and always make sure that it's from reliable sources. And Dr. Zakir Naik's videos also are quite good. And third tip, let me think. My third tip is not to rush in any decision, because it's your journey, it's something that you do for yourself. Any question, any doubt you have, just, as I said, talk to people, read books, and try to understand why you want to do it. Do you really want to do it? Don't listen to other people. People are gonna try even to stop you to do it, but just make your decision. Take your time. If it takes 6 months, if it takes 1 year, just make sure it's your own relation with God you have to find. So just be yourself and ask to Allah for help. My name is Isabella. Thanks for listening my story, and please subscribe to the River channel. Assalamu alaikum.
دجلا خلقت كي نعدى. لا أملك فكر الكلمات تطلع بالدين مورر، أو شخصية تأثير ما عندي فلتتقهقر. ما تذكر ليس بعذر يقبل في يوم المحشر. لم لا تتثقف، لم لا تترك ما منه تصغر. حبي أنصار الهدى، عبي ركب الفدا.
My top 3 tips for the Muslims are not going to get
فتيات اليوم كفى كفاك تركاضا خلف سرابي عودي نحو الإسلام
Why I can't
لا
say my
تستمعي
3 top
لذئابي
tips.
فالشرق دمع فيه والمرتاد كتابي
Sorry.
طمس الدين وكذا لفظا لترابي قتلوا الإنسانية في أعمى